Hi, I'm Alyssa, and today I'll be talking a bit about microplastics, which are a problem of growing concern in the world. Microplastics are tiny pieces of plastic that are up to 5 millimeters in length. As you may know, microplastics are the result of plastic breaking down over time, but plastic never actually goes away. It just gets smaller and smaller, and it fills up various parts of the ecosystem. Let's talk about the history of microplastics. In the 60s, plastic was found in the bodies of albatrosses and other birds for the first time, which raised people to question, how is this happening? What can we do about it? So in 1987, people started studying the effects of plastic being inside of animals' bodies. Between that time and the current day, people began taking notice of all the garbage that was washing up on beaches, much of which was plastic. And in 2004, the term microplastic was used for the first time, and it was referring to pieces of plastic from zero point zero 0.02 millimeters in size. But today, that term applies to plastic up to 5 millimeters in size. Where are microplastics? Unfortunately, they're everywhere. They're in the food we eat, in the water that we drink, the clothes we wear, our oceans and ecosystems, and worst of all, they're already in our brains and our bloodstreams. It's also important to note that 60 to 80% of the debris under oceans and seas is plastic, and 90% of all the trash floating on oceans and seas is also plastic. Where is it all coming from? Well, one source is laundering polyester garments, which releases microplastics, especially if the cycle is longer and hotter. Plastic containers, of course, release microplastics. Littering, improper plastic disposal, poor landfill management, carpets, drinking water, plastic straws and utensils, iPhone cases, beauty products, and plastic packaging. All of these things, when they break down, release microplastics, and they put us at direct exposure to microplastics. So, what is the problem with microplastics? Are they really dangerous to us or the environment? Well, yes. Every year, 286,000 pounds of plastic is entering the environment. And if trends continue, that figure will rise to 600,000 pounds of plastic trash. That's a lot. By 2050, it's estimated that there will be more plastic than fish in the ocean. Can you imagine that? In terms of our health, it has been found that microplastics in animals have caused damage to their tissue function, damage to their organs, and inflammation. Although no study has confirmed that on humans because studies are so limited at the time, people have found that there are indeed microplastics in most of our brains and in arterial plaque. BPA and phthalates, additionally, are two additives that are frequently added to plastic packaging, and they are known endocrine disruptors. BPA, in particular, acts like estrogen in the body, and when these things affect kids, it's even worse. It messes with their puberty, it changes their body fat percentages, it messes with their fertility, it hurts their nervous and immune system development. So it's pretty clear that these two chemicals in plastic are harmful, and they are in microplastics, which we are being exposed to in a variety of ways, as previously mentioned, and those effects are more pronounced on kids. So, what can we do as individuals to combat microplastics or to reduce our exposure? Well, for one, we can avoid plastic water bottles. That much is obvious. In fact, drinking water from just 1 liter of a plastic water bottle can reduce us, can expose us to over 200,000 particles of microplastic. And that number increases if the water bottle has been placed under sunlight, or it has been reused, or exposed to heat in any way. Additionally, we can avoid heating up plastic containers. So if you have food that comes in a plastic container, don't put it in the microwave. And don't put any plastic containers in the microwave for that matter. You can avoid single serve snacks because they come in plastic packaging, which has some of those endocrine disrupting chemicals I mentioned. You can use rock salt instead of sea salt because sea salt is just evaporated seawater, and as we covered, that's full of microplastics. You can use a wood or a bamboo toothbrush instead of a plastic one. You can use stainless steel utensils, use cotton, silk, linen, or wool clothing instead of polyester clothing, which releases microplastic. You can toss your plastic cutting board, avoid glitter in cosmetics, use microbead free toothpaste, use fabric shopping bags, and bring your own takeout containers when you go out to eat. Some other things that you can do are buying milk in glass bottles, using bar soap, shampoo, and conditioner instead of that in a plastic bottle. You can carry reusable utensils and straws with you if you go out to eat. You can carry a stainless steel bottle or mug wherever you go. That just reduces the need to pick up a plastic bottle of water if you're thirsty. I've been there. You can shop at farmers markets because frequently packaging is minimal or optional. Eat whole foods because it's been shown that whole foods have significantly less microplastics than processed foods. Use a natural deodorant. I've put a picture of one on the right. It's by the brand Native. And something I love about them is they also offer deodorant in cardboard containers rather than plastic. So you're killing two birds with one stone. You can say no to plastic produce bags. You can filter out your tap water, which removes a lot of the microplastics. And just utilizing any of those other plastic free switches is helpful to reduce your exposure and your output. And of course, just staying current on the research because, like I mentioned, there's not a lot of studies done that show the effects of microplastics on humans, but it's just good to stay up to date with that. So, what's been done from the top down, from bodies of power? Well, several bills have been passed and some are introduced, so they're current, and unfortunately, others have failed. But let's get into those. Firstly, there was the Microplastics Safety Act, which is in the state of being introduced. It's not passed yet. And this bill would mandate that studies are done to explore microplastics' effects on human health. Then there's the Plastic Health Research Act, which is also in the introduced status. And this bill would increase the funding for microplastic research. As far as the past bills, there's the Beyond the Bag ban, which is an Oregon Senate bill, and it limited companies from giving single use plastic bags to their customers. Another one that was passed is the Small Single Use Plastic Bottle Act of Illinois, and it prohibits certain hotels from giving small bottles of personal care items to their clients. So that could be shampoo, conditioner, all the essentials. Another one that was passed was actually a rule that was added to the California Safe Drinking Water Act, and it launches testing for microplastics in drinking water. Luckily, a lot of other states have followed our lead in California and have started doing the same thing. A few bills that unfortunately didn't pass were in Rhode Island, and they wanted to prohibit the sale of products with synthetic polymer microparticles. Maybe that had to do with deodorants or toothpastes or cleansers because those are products that frequently contain those things. Some more top-down action that's taken place is a proposed rule in California that wants to add microplastics to the state candidate chemicals list, and that would designate them to be a chemical of concern. And while being a chemical of concern doesn't create any regulatory obligations, it actually does allow for microplastics or whatever chemical to be tracked in consumer products. So we would know that it's there when we're buying it. Another thing that's being done is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, otherwise known as NOAA. What they do is a lot of research onto microplastics in marine environments. And then lastly, there's the Make Our Children Healthy Again report, which gives a lot of statistics on plastic use in the United States and disposal statistics. So in conclusion, now you know a little bit more about microplastics, what they are, their history, the concern of microplastics to you as a human and to the environment, and just some switches that you can make as an individual to reduce your exposure and your output. And I just hope that you will stay up to date on the research which is coming out and try to make these changes for yourself and for the environment. Thank you. Here are my references.